There's one more area we need to cover, and that's defense mechanisms. For some, they're not a big deal, but for others, it's the very thing that stands in the way of getting what they want. So it's good to understand what they are, why we create them, and how to resolve them. Here's what you need to know. Some memories are so threatening, painful, or humiliating that the protective part of the mind may try to contain, box up, wall off, or in some other way block you from having to be aware of your inner turmoil. Some defense mechanisms are obvious, like switching the subject if it gets too sensitive, or trying to blame someone else when there's something you don't want to see about yourself. But other defense mechanisms are really hard to detect, like when we repress or dissociate traumatic memories from our awareness, because they're just too hard to deal with. Here's an example. Let's say this child is suffering from long-term physical or sexual abuse. Because he or she can't handle the awareness of what has happened, she builds a dam-like defense mechanism inside to hold back her memories of abuse. At first, this seems to work. She's temporarily relieved and appears to be fine. But it doesn't matter how big or strong her defense mechanisms are, her toxic memories have a way of leaching their way through right back into her awareness. Only this time they may show up in some kind of indirect feedback, like depression, anxiety, psychosomatic health issues. Maybe she's even riddled with unexplainable self-loathing, uncontrollable urges, attractions, or a whole lot more. This inner dam of repressed memories and emotions will only serve to dam her from finding the real, genuine relief that she's looking for. After all, what would happen if she tried to suppress putrid or poisonous materials by enclosing them up in a box and stuffing them in a dark corner? Would she be getting rid of it? No. It would be waiting for her the minute she opened that box again, and in the meantime, maybe stinking up or even contaminating her living area. Without effective intervention, she may be stuck packing the same garbage around for a lifetime. Though defense mechanisms appear to be helpful in the short run, they can drag you down and make you miserable. They may even become a bigger problem than the original ones you were trying to avoid, like mind-altering substances this man uses to numb his unpleasant realities, which eventually turn his life into a far worse nightmare. Or this guy who seeks out weak, vulnerable victims to control and bully because he feels out of control and powerless inside. Or the person who believes she's a failure, so tries to become all things to all people in order to gain their approval. The praise temporarily makes her feel really good, but in the long run, she's used up, exhausted, and still feels like a loser. In the end, none of these defense mechanisms work, nor will they ever. They only give a temporary illusion of relief. Eventually, all of these people are going to have to face head-on the issues they're running from and heal them in order to feel good about themselves naturally and behave better. Just for the record, here are a few of our favorite defense mechanisms. You might recognize some. Notice which ones might apply to you. For a longer list and some possible explanations of what they mean, check the list of defense mechanisms on this page at the end of the video. And here's another reason to be aware of defense mechanisms. Let's say you have a successful SRT session. Your presenting symptom goes away and you think you're done with that issue. Then after a while, the same symptom shows up again. What does that mean? Likely it means you've cleaned out several chambers of toxic memories, but there is more work to do. In other words, your symptoms, or the lack thereof, tell you whether or not you have more hidden chambers that need to be emptied. When your symptoms are gone and stay gone over time, then you will know you're done with that issue. How do you know if you have defense mechanisms? Well, that's easy. If you'd rather avoid unpleasant realities than deal with them in an honest, open, and direct way, then you probably have developed defense mechanisms. Here's another telltale sign. There may be times that you experience something in the here and now that reminds you of a past event, and you re-experience the same feelings and awarenesses all over again, as if it were happening for the first time. This is called getting triggered. Sometimes triggers can be pleasant, such as a smell or taste that takes you back to Grandma's house with all the love and good feelings you experienced there as a child. But unresolved trauma or negativity bring painful triggers, ones that are hard to re-experience, such as the combat vet who has a major panic attack during a fireworks show. Negative triggers are evidence that something has yet to be resolved. Nightmares or other kinds of indirect feedback, like the ones mentioned earlier, are all indications that your traumatic life issues are not yet resolved. Some build layers upon layers of perceived protection around these unresolved issues, which can end up to be like, or is meant to be like, an impenetrable fortress inside that nothing can get through. Not only does this delay a person from getting the much needed help and healing they need, but as you suppress those bad feelings, you may also be suppressing the good ones as well, which can leave you feeling bad all the time and not knowing why. It's like never taking out your mental garbage. It just piles up until eventually it takes over your life. When this is the case, no amount of positive thinking, affirmations, counseling, or medication seems to help. When defense mechanisms become extreme, they may actually cause a person to lose touch with their true, genuine self and emotions, and sometimes even reality. Extreme defense mechanisms can take on different forms. One extreme is people who are so oblivious to their own feelings, they have no compassion or tolerance for anyone else's feelings or pain. Some may even have no remorse or conscience when hurting, using, controlling, or destroying others. The other extreme could be like this young girl whose defense mechanisms cause her to minimize her abuse, as if it never happened or wasn't all that bad. Over time, the denial of her pent-up pain may become like an invisible force that literally magnetizes her into abusive relationships where she is further violated. Extreme defense mechanisms may cause a person, like this young girl, to harm or injure her own body in an attempt to distract herself from the pain. One such girl explained to me that cutting her skin was a desirable distraction in comparison to having to feel the far worse pain that was on the inside. Some even commit suicide to escape their inner distress. Because defense mechanisms are so ineffective, isn't it about time to heal what's behind them so there's no need to have those blocks anymore? Absolutely. However, this can seem really daunting because therapy can be long, painful, and pricey. But with SRT, you're working with your subconscious mind and your innate natural healers, which means you can resolve toxic memories in a fast, effective, and indirect way, going through little, if any, discomfort throughout the process. And because it works so quickly, it ends up to be very affordable. In the same way you can use your natural innate healers to heal, you can also use them to break down the defense mechanisms and expose the parts of you that have been storing the painful memories behind them. Your innate healers can then liberate these parts of you from the toxic memories they store, which allows them to be happy, joyful parts of you again. Like a box of jigsaw puzzle pieces coming together, each healed part can take its rightful place back inside of you, helping you to become a more complete, balanced, and comfortable person inside. As each part of you is restored, you may notice a beautiful picture coming together of who you really are and of your true worth and value. Whether you suffer from extreme defense mechanisms or just have some inner house cleaning to do, why not find relief in a non-invasive, speedy, and comfortable way instead of packing your pain around with you? Also consider SRT for current traumas soon after they happen, before those memories go into long-term storage. Whether it be a car accident, divorce, death of a loved one, hurt, rejection, anger, or whatever, resolving the negative events as they happen eliminates the need for defense mechanisms and packing your pain around further. Initiate your own miracles by making an appointment for SRT. I think you'll be glad you did. If you have any questions or need clarification about anything on these videos, email your questions to 123@findingthehealer.com and someone will get right back with you. Bye for now.